This interview is part of the Living Legends collection of the Oklahoma Historical Society. It is an interview with Mrs. Herbert Wilson, interviewed in Alva, Oklahoma by Pendleton Woods on October 24th, 1972. It is being copied for inclusion in the permanent collection of the Oral History Program on April 5th, 1990 by Joel Todd.
This is Penn Woods interviewing for the Oklahoma Living Legends, October 24th, 1972, in Alva, Oklahoma, and interviewing Mrs. Lottie Elliot Wilson, or Mrs. Herbert Wilson. Is that E-L-L-I-O-T or two T's? Two T's, T-T Wilson. Ms. Wilson, your father, I believe, made the run, and this claim is still in the family. Is that right?
Yes,
Now, I noticed that you were born in a sod house.
yes.
Why don't you tell? Do you remember the sod house? Or
Yes.
why don't you tell about what it was like?
Well, you want me to tell my dad made the race?
Yes, go ahead.
My dad, Charles E. Elliot, made the race into Cherokee Strip September the 16th, 1893, and then he went back to Pratt, Kansas, and spent the winter there. And in the spring he came back and built a sod house, and married my mother, and later, and they came back to the close to Alva here, and it was 5 miles southeast of Alva where he staked the claim in the run. And several years later, I was born in this sod house, and also my brother, and we lived there in the sod house several years. And Dad farmed some, and he was a cattleman and a farmer, but farming was sort of you might say, a sideline at that time. It's dry, they couldn't raise anything, and he would go out in the western part of the county and cut cedar trees and make posts out of them, and it'd take him about a week to get back with a load of posts, in which they would just get $3 for, and they thought that was just that $3 looked like 3 cartwheels, because they didn't have any money scarcely. Sometimes they just wondered where the next meal was coming from.
How was the sod house like?
Well, the sod house was just had a dirt floor, and as well as I can remember, and it was comfortable enough, I guess, because it was, tight.
What kind of rooms did you have?
Well, we just had one room, sod house.
One room.
One room.
How many of you were living there then?
Well, there were the 3 for until just about the time they moved out when my brother was born.
It was warm.
Yes, it was warm. Being sod was pretty thick,
Do you remember how big it was?
No, I don't remember how big it was.
How far was it from Alva?
Oh, 5 miles.
Where'd you go to school?
At the Lone Star School, and it was just a one-room school with one teacher, and had all grades, and of course the kids played the usual games, and we didn't have a lot of swings and things like they do now on the grounds at all. We played black man and ante over, and just the games that we could all be in and take part in, and of course ball and baseball and such as that.
All the grades in one.
All the grades in one room and one teacher.
How could you have lectures? You couldn't very well with all the grades in one. Did you work on your own with the teacher helping each pupil?
Yes, we'd have a class, and each grade then would she would call for that class, either geography or whatever it happened to be, and this particular ones that were in that grade, they'd go up the front and recite.
Might be anywhere from 1 to 4 people in the class.
Well, there was usually more than one. There was about 20 to 30 kids
In the whole school.
in the whole school.
So that means you'd probably average, it was 6th grade, 25, about 4 on average.
Yeah, they'd be 4 or
so-
5 children, sometimes maybe 3 in one class or something like that. But usually had, I can't remember it being just one in a class, but
Did you go clear through 12th grade in that school?
no, the 8th.
8th grade.
We just had 8th grade then.
Where'd you go to high school?
Well, I went to the normal school, which was, I suppose it would be a high school then, but it's called normal school, and wasn't college till later.
Where was that?
Up here on the hill, the old castle on the hill,
Oh.
and that's where I met my husband,
Well.
and he went to school there too. And
Did you ever go to Northwestern?
no,
The college?
it was normal school when I went.
Oh, it was.
Yes,
Well, was it the college here?
it's the college here.
Yeah.
Yes, I've never lived anyplace else but right here. I was born here and still here.
Now, they met in the Friends Church, didn't they? Or was that later?
That was later.
You went to it after they went to the Friends Church, after they met in the Friends Church?
Oh no, before.
You did?
See, I was. I'm older than you think.
Oh, well.
And I have a son that went. Well, you see, it burned down whenever he's going to school.
Yeah.
My son is going to college. And
I thought that they started the normal school, that it started in what is now the Friends Church.
well, the old Congregational Church.
Was it? Yes, that later became the Friends Church.
Uh-huh.
But you attended then after it was in the Congregational Church?
Oh, well,
Yes.
didn't they build that up there in 19?
I
100?
talked with a lady this
1900?
morning who had, yes, 1902.
Two.
The lady who graduated in 1902
Oh,
said that she attended when it was in what is now the Friends Church.
oh. Well, I went after that
After
then, because
that.
I went to the normal school. It was up. It was already built up here on the hill.
How many students were there then?
You know, I can't
You don't
remember.
know. What were some of the activities in the college?
Well, just well, I remember they had polo. They played on with the horses. They ride the
Yeah.
horses and play polo. And I haven't seen any of that for a long time,
Oh,
but
they-
that was way back when.
The polo club in Norman, I think, not at the college,
they?
but I mean, not a student thing, but
Uh-huh.
adult polo club.
Oh, they had well, I didn't participate in very many of the things because I drove back and forth with a horse and buggy. So
From where?
from
out on the farm?
out on the farm. So I didn't get to attend anything that came off at night,
Now,
especially
your husband's name was what?
Herbert
Herbert?
Wilson.
Uh-huh. And he was attending the Norval School.
Yes, he attended the same time I did. We attended together.
What were you all studying? Were you studying
English and
the general course?
the general course, yes.
What was he studying?
Well, same thing, just general course.
When were you married?
1916.
And were you, was that in Alva?
Well, we was married in Enid,
In the
but we've always lived here. We just went to
What did he do
he was a farmer.
in the Alva area?
Yes, we lived out here, southwest of town.
Do you still live on the farm?
No, I live here in town.
You're in town now.
I lost my husband in
You were in
April of
there.
this year.
Oh, this year.
Mhm.
Did you move in after that?
Oh no, we've lived in town for 10 years. We built a new house in town and live here. And
The What was it, wheat farm?
Yes, wheat farmers.
The what you've seen the growth of Alva over quite a period of time, and possibly been active in some phases of it. Have you what phases have you been active in, or what parts? It might be organizations, or churches, or other things. What activity have you had in Alva over the years?
Well, my husband belonged to Rotary Club, and we attended the Methodist Church and active there, and well, I still am, and he wasn't as long as he was living. So, just kind of the general things.
What do you feel was the highlight of the biggest thing that's happened in Alva in the years that you've been there? An event that might have happened, or maybe a development that might have taken place in Alva? You think of anything offhand?
No, I don't.
On the farm, you were on a farm during a period when types of machinery and such on the farm changed considerably.
Right.
Why
Surely
don't you
did.
tell something about what it was like, and then what it developed to on the farm during the period you were there?
Well, I remember in my younger days they used horses, of course, and walking plows. And well, no, not very long. They used walking plows, but they got the riding plows and went to listers sometimes, and different types of machinery, binders, and then headers, and thrashing machines, and just then came on down to large tractors, and now then it's, of course, the modern machinery that everyone has. It certainly has made a great change in the machinery and the type of farming and all this and that.
How much land did y'all farm?
Oh, section.
What a section?
Well, we did, not my dad.
No, your husband.
We had a section.
When did you have children?
Yes,
children?
we have 2 children.
2 children. Where are they living now?
Well, my son lives up on 10th Street, right close to us, and by the way, he was chose second in the United States in health in his 4-H work when he was in that, and their score was so close that they had to get to looking at their teeth, see which one had the straightest teeth, and their score was 99 and 9/10 or something like that, and the other kid had the straightest teeth, so he got first, and Kenneth got second, and which was health-wise.
Well, that's good.
And,
He's married now?
Oh, yes, he has 2 children. And our daughter lives out Freedom, and they're ranchers out there.
When you were in college, can you think of any highlight event that happened on the campus that was particularly memorable to you?
So long ago, I can't hardly remember. I just can't think of anything just right that would be exciting or anything.
Well, thinking in terms of the back in the early days of Alva, can you think of course you were on the farm, but still, can you remember any early events? Maybe
every time a circus came to town, why, we always had to go to that. And my dad, he liked to go, and he couldn't get one of us kids to go. Later on, he'd borrow a kid and take him to the circus. So he always liked to go, and so all things like that we took in, the things that would come to town that was.
What were the circuses like then?
All just, well, not quite as large as they are now, but they had very much of the same thing.
Did they have a circus parade?
Yes, and I remember the steam carolio that I always liked to hear.
What about during the Depression? What was it like then?
Well, it was kind of tough. Depression, we sold wheat for 25 cents a bushel, and that wasn't too good. It made it hard on everyone. Sure didn't make much then, that's for sure.
Did you have to plow during the week?
Well, we have, yes, in that program.
Yes.
You had to be in the program, or were supposed to be, in that program, or else you didn't. You planted too much, well, you had to plow under some of it.
What about animals? Did you grow any animals? Did you raise any animals?
Oh, yes, we've always had cattle up until we retired, and sheep, and we have.
Did you have to kill any cattle? We had.
No, we didn't.
It was interviewed this morning talking about that a little bit.
Yes, well, some people did, but we didn't.
What about the period of World War I? Can you describe what it was like about that period around here?
Well, I wouldn't know how to describe it.
Well, what would you say would be the most interesting period in your life experience? Do you have a thought to that effect?
Well, of course, there's been different phases, you might say. I don't know. I thought, of course, whenever I was going to school, that was the most exciting time, and then, of course, in raising your family, well, that's another exciting time, and all through, there's always been nice times, and there's been depression times, you might say, and some times that weren't so nice, and all that. It's well, just, you might say, the usual run of life. And
well, do you think of anything else that we ought to talk about that maybe we haven't touched on? This has been a real nice interview. I didn't know if maybe I had missed some area of your life that we ought to discuss. Do you think of anything?
no, I don't think anything.
It's been an interview, a very nice interview with Mrs. Herbert Wilson, maiden name Lottie Elliot Wilson, on October 24th, 1972.